How's it going, everyone? Austin Carter here with the Tackleline Leather. I appreciate y'all watching my last video on how to make a leather fire helmet shield. One of the main questions was how I designed my shields, and mainly in Photoshop. And so today I'm going to take some time and kind of break down the process of how I organize my shields for design and transfer onto the shield templates. So if you're interested in this, stick around and hope you enjoy the video. You need to start this process by already having a shield template cut out, whether it be on poster board or some kind of light colored template. You're then going to want to scan this into your computer. Here you see me putting down the template and then putting a dark background into the scanner. You'll see why in a second. After you've scanned your template into the computer, you're going to want to take a screenshot or download this scanned file. Alright everybody, how's it going? We're now on my computer. I'm using a Mac today. If you're using something else, follow along as closely as possible. If you're using Photoshop, everything should be similar. And I'll do my best to explain everything. Alright, once you have scanned your template into your computer, you're going to want to click and drag it into Photoshop. It should open up here pretty quickly. What we're going to want to do is clean up this background. So right here you see the contrast between your template and the black background that we put. So we're going to want to get rid of this. What you're going to come and do is click on your magic erase tool. You can go ahead and click that black background. And what you've done is eliminate the background. All right, but we're not done there quite just yet. You're going to go to Image, Adjustments, Black and White. And what we're going to do is click OK, and what this does is it turns the entire image black and white. This helps us in our next step. You're going to click Image, Adjustments, and then Threshold. And what this does is it gives you complete control of the blacks and the whites in this photo. And as you see, it cleaned up the template really nicely. But we want to get rid of like these black edges and stuff like that. So you can drag it right or left, see how you have all control. So you want to drag it until most of the black is gone. Obviously you want to leave your template holes there. You're going to go ahead and click OK. Alrighty. From here we're going to duplicate this layer. So we're going to hit Command J on our keyboard. As you see, we've duplicated it. You're going to double click this layer. This box will appear. You're going to click Stroke. Alright. And as you've seen, a small little black line has come up around our border. We want that a little bigger, so you're going to click on this stroke box. You're going to set the adjustment. I like to set around, 5 pixels will be good. Alright. Click OK. And in doing this, you see that there are some little specks that pop up. We're just going to clean those up. You're going to come to your erase tool, and just start cleaning up the background so that we have a nice, crisp, clean digital file. Alrighty. Once that's done, we want to get the dimensions correct for our shield. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure our template. We're going to measure our template height and length, or height and width, sorry. And then we're going to plug those numbers into this new file. So click File, New. We want to keep this inches. A lot of times it'll come up as pixels. You want it to be inches. we want the height, or we want the width to be 5 1/4. And then we want the height to be 6 1/2. Make sure your resolution is relatively high. I like to keep it around 300. This just keeps anything that you upload into Photoshop nice and crisp and not pixelated. Go ahead and hit create. And what we're going to do now is go back to our shield, click and drag it into our new folder, and then now we just have to resize it. If you hit Command T, you'll be able to select the image. If you hit Shift and click this corner, you can adjust it, and the image will stay in its normal parameters. So what we're going to want to do is make sure that these black lines are, the border is touching the border of the image. So we're pretty close there. All right, they're just touching there. Now, the shield measured a little less than 6 1/2, so if we just centered her up, that should be pretty good. We want to do any straightening at this time. The shield is kind of canted to the left. If you hit Command T, and then you can rotate to straighten out the shield as best you can. So we'll do that here pretty quick. All right, looks good enough. You're going to come to background, click on background. Once again, you're going to go to Magic Erase, the Magic Eraser tool. Erase the background. Now you want to save your file. Go to Save As. I'm going to save it as Shield Template. Save it wherever you want. I'm going to save this, let's see, under Fire Department, my Fire Department file. And then you want to save this as a PNG. Save. All right. Now, once you saved it like that, anytime you open up this file, it'll appear like this, and basically it's your blank slate to start designing. So, the first thing that I do when I start designing is I start with my center art or a number or letters or whatever, and I work from the inside out. That's just my personal preference. It just helps me align everything easier and get a grasp of where anything needs to be. And so for today's demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and use a number. I'm going to use the number 2. That's my station. A quick tip is whenever you're going to be typing out font or numbers or artwork, you always want it to be white first. And so we're going to type in 2. And the reason for this is because you can put a black border around your number. So what you're going to come over and do is double click that layer. You're going to hit stroke. Change it to 5 or so. Make sure it is above your layer. All right, and so now you have a nice number 2 that is ready to be printed out. It already has the lines for you to follow, to trace. All right, but I don't want that number 2. You're going to come up here and select what font you want. Let's see here. I like this one. If you have trouble drawing numbers or fonts or anything like that, an easy way of getting some cool looking fonts is going to Dafont.com and you can search, I mean, thousands of different font styles and download for free anything you want. It's a really nice tool to use. And so, okay, I've got the number 2 that I want. You want to resize it to fit the shield appropriately, get it centered. All right, well, that looks good for now. All right, Now what we want to do is, again, I said work from the middle out. And so for this example, I'm going to put a banner above and below it. So we're going to go in, open. And again, I'm going to assume that you already have a plan. Again, this is just how I go about doing everything. I'm going to search banners. All right, we're going to go with this one. Open your banner. So a quick tip about getting your artwork into your computer. Basically, you just follow the same steps that I showed earlier in this video on scanning in your templates or your artwork into your computer, taking them into Photoshop, turning them black and white, hitting, going to image adjustments threshold, and basically getting a nice black and white outline. And that's what you're looking for. You're mainly looking for outlines that you can easily print off and trace onto your project. If you're not great at drawing, again, I'm not super great at drawing, you can also just do Google searches for vector art. For example, if I wanted to find something like this, you Google free banner vector art or free fire department vectors, something like that. And a lot of times stuff will pop up that's free. You can use it, and that'll start you off on artwork for your shields. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop onto our template. We're going to make sure everything's centered. Okay. So one thing I noticed here real quick is this is really close together. So I'm going to probably just move that 2 down a little bit just so we don't have anything clashing. And then I'm going to move it over a little bit because it looks uncentered. Alrighty. One of the biggest things, especially for leatherwork, is knowing your tools and knowing how they operate. So if I had kept that right there, even though I could have probably made it with a beveler, I would have had this line and this line clashing. And we want everything nice and crisp and defined, and so it's just better to keep your distance on some projects. All right, so here's the upper border. Again, keep in mind, if you're going to stitch, leave room for stitching. This is a little too close for me, so I'm going to make sure I'm on that layer. Command T, hold Shift, and readjust the size just a little bit. All right. And right there, I should have plenty of room for my stitch. All right, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna hit Command T, you're gonna select this banner. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back. You're gonna hit Command J, you're gonna duplicate this layer, then you're gonna hit Command T, you're going to right click, and then you're gonna click Flip Vertical. You're gonna hit Enter, and you are going to hold Shift and bring this banner down. You need to resize because obviously the banner is too close to the edges. You're going to hit Command T, and then you can hit Shift Option, and that will bring everything in nice and neat like that. You can adjust for straightness and align everything appropriately. Click Enter. Let's see, we'll go down a little bit. All right. So here I have made sure that I have room for stitch lines all the way around. And we're starting to look good. Another thing to keep in mind is the top of the shield. Most templates will have that eagle with its beak as kind of as an alignment placement for the shield right here. You're going to want to make sure that you don't have too much art coming up this tall, or fonts or text or anything like that, because that eagle beak will swoop down. I think it's like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch over the shield, and so I've done this a couple times unintentionally, is tooled too high, and that beak will cover up some of the tooling. So you want to make sure that you're nice and careful. All right, and so basically from here, guys, this is what I would print off. I would then I'd print this off on vellum paper. Again, if you want to find out what that is, you can watch my previous video on how to make a leather fire helmet shield. And from there, I would transfer the art here onto the leather. Take my calipers. I could make a border. I could do some background design in this space here, on this side over here, just really filling up this shield. And then obviously, here's a very important thing to keep in mind. If you're going to do any kind of banner or something like that, make sure that you have enough space to fit in an entire name or department or something like that. Make sure you have the right size letter stamp to do that. I think I have most sizes from like 1 inch to 3/8 to smaller. And so I have a pretty wide variety of letters, but say you have a really long fire department name up here or something like that, or a really long last name down here, you're going to want to make sure that you have enough space for that stamp. So we'll get into another design tip here. So say that, yeah, banners aren't going to work for this. Names are too long. It's just not going to work out. So we're going to close out these. We'll leave the 2. Let's say you want to tool out the names, top and bottom. You come over here. You want to click on your ellipse tool. And then you're going to drag. And what you're looking for is that top arc. You want that top arc to align nicely with the shield flow. So I'm gonna set it like that. And what you're gonna do then is you're gonna come over to your text tool. You're gonna click on your text tool, and if you notice right there, it changes right there. You're going to click on there, make sure your font is white, and then you're going to type in, whatever you want. So just for this example, I'm going to type in fire department. Okay, you're going to go over here to that layer, double click, hit stroke, leave it at 5 pixels, that's fine, and hit OK. All right, I don't really like this, so we're going to go ahead and change that. We'll do that. All right, now from here, you just want to align everything. So click your text tool, select everything. If you hit Command, you can adjust it so that it's straight. All right, go ahead and close out your ellipse that you made. All right, and then from here, you can hit Command T and then move around and place and straighten the font that you want. All right, and then for the bottom, we're going to basically do the same thing. Go ahead and hit your ellipse tool. Okay, this time you're going to focus on the bottom curve of the ellipse, because you're going to want it to line up with the bottom line of the template. So I'm going to do that. Go to my text tool. Go ahead and click on that. Okay, so right here though, when I type something out, it's going to be on the bottom facing the wrong way. So I'm just going to put a last name. Go ahead and double click your layer, hit stroke. Good to go there. Go ahead and highlight the last name, hit Command, and wait for that little arrow to pop up like that. Oops. And then you can bring it up So bring it up and center and let go. And from here, you close out your ellipse down there. Command T, you can resize it. You know, we're going to make this a lot bigger. Okay, bring it down, adjust for straightness. All right, it looks pretty good. Again, leaving enough room for borders or stitch lines. And so those are two really simple ways of starting off a fire helmet shield. Again, designing fire helmets, you can take it as far as your imagination will go. You can put all kinds of stuff in here. You don't have to tool the two. You could cut out the two and make a 3D, like a 3D two below or above the shield. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. So from here, you just file, print, and there you go. You would print off on your vellum sheet. I'm not going to do that right now. And it would align perfectly with your leather fire helmet cutout. I appreciate y'all for sticking around and watching this video. If you have any questions, once again, you can just leave them on the YouTube video, or you can find me at Attackline Leather on Instagram. Ask me any questions there. So thanks for sticking around. I hope y'all have a great day.